All right, well, first off, thank you guys for asking these guys a lot of questions. You can see I'm a lucky dude. And honestly, you guys don't need to hear from me. I mean, these guys are the spokespeople for our program, and thank you for asking those questions and helping people hear what they have to say, because they're awesome representatives of our program and our university and our community.
Lindsay Schnell, the athletic. Tommy, I was actually going to say that I've noticed the last couple of days you seem as interested in the answers as we are that the players give. It's not always like that when we're in these things. I was curious, obviously when you were at GU, you went and recruited overseas. You kind of found these hidden gems. It's a lot harder to do that now. Everyone's going overseas. Everyone is looking for a skilled international big man from Europe. Does it help that you can go into families' homes and say, hey, look at all these guys I helped develop? How much is that part of your recruiting pitch now, whereas before it was like you didn't necessarily have that to lean on as much?
Yeah, well, I think a lot. I think, anytime you have a track record at doing something, that speaks volumes. I think that's really important. I mean, one of my shticks in recruiting is, we're going to be fact-based. We're not going to be, we're not going to sell you a dream. We're not going to sell you something we haven't done before. When we talk to you about things, we're going to be very direct. And we're going to paint an accurate picture of what we think your situation looks like when you play for us. And we're going to tell you areas we think you need to improve on and how we can help you do that.
Sam King from the Journal and Courier in West Lafayette. Tommy, when you faced Purdue 2 years ago, even though Braden and Fletcher were sophomores, they were already seasoned vets. In the current landscape of college basketball, do you think we'll see anything like this again, where you have two guys in the backcourt who start their entire careers together for 4 years?
I mean, potentially. I don't want to rule that out, but it is really impressive. I mean, it's just really impressive what Purdue's done, and just how good those players are and how committed they be. I mean, what I remember about that game 2 years ago was that I think it was a Saturday afternoon game. We were ranked 1, they were ranked 2 or 3. Every bar in that city of Indianapolis must have been full for hours, because those fans came in there lit and in a good way. And it was a lot of fun, and it was so loud in that place. I mean, honestly, other than playing at Allen Fieldhouse, it's probably one of the loudest venues I've ever been a part in, and that's saying something when you're in an NBA arena.
About with Associated Press, Tommy, how does the continuity and experience they have, how does that show up on tape when you're watching them, and just what kind of challenge is that?
Well, they just have depth to what they do. I'm sure, the way Payne can coach them now, there's a lot of reps that have already been done, so it can be a lot of conversations, and they have a vast database to draw from of experiences together. And, I'm sure he can say, hey, do you remember when we did this, 2 months ago or 2 years ago? And he has guys that can recall, and that's been impressive. And, what I'll say, and Braden Smith's obviously a great player. And, Chad from the Pacers, he the GM, he called me like when Braden was like a sophomore in high school. He and I have a relationship. I've known Chad forever. He used to be at Portland. And he was like, I don't know, this kid's a little small, but my son's playing with him, and he plays at my son's high school, and he's really good. So you talk about an eye for talent. I mean, that kid was like a freshman or sophomore, and for him to be the all-time leader in assists now, it's pretty impressive. So kudos to Chad. I mean, that was he definitely identified a good one there, and Purdue found him as well. So it's been a match made in heaven.
Coach Alex Dowd, K-Gun. A couple of your players told me that before every practice and game, y'all have a huddle where there's a word or a mantra that you'll say to each other to get ready for that day. What's the word today or mantra today, and where did this tradition come
Well,
from?
I'm not going to tell you. That's our culture stuff. I think it's important that you have rituals that are meaningful, and I think you may be able to. There's probably a way where you can overdo some of these ritual type things, and it maybe gets a little bit cheesy. But I think what's cool is if you have a group of guys that are willing to put their arms around each other and listen to an old guy like me say a few words, and then we have a little routine we go through, and to do that every day, willingly, I think that's really cool. No one's too cool to do it, and to me that's really important. When you're with people every day, it's really important that people, can bond and be normal people and not think the mundane things are stupid. And so I really value those rituals that we do, and I think, that they're key components to building a strong culture.
Nathan Barrett, Indianapolis Star. Purdue is the best offensive efficiency in the country. I think the highest that Ken Palm's ever had. And they run a lot of sets, or are known for running a lot of sets on top of that. Just what sort of tactical issues does that create on these short turnarounds?
Well, you have to be concept based. I'm sure they're pretty good at hiding their calls. So there's no way you're going to be able to teach your team 25 play calls and have them go out and execute it in a day. So yeah, you have to be you probably have to really hone in on what you've done well and try to break it down into concepts into how you guard that and go out. I think this time of year. I'm sure there'll be some adjustments made by both staffs, but both teams are here for a reason because they're probably really good at doing what they do. So I think you're going to see two teams try to come out and assert their will on each other tomorrow, and I'm sure it's going to be a heck of a battle.
Hey Tommy, Pat Forty from Sports Illustrated. Do you remember your first trip to Lithuania, recruiting trip, and what did it take for you to become as networked as you are there?
Yeah, I think I still have a headache from having dinner with Arvydas Sabonis, So, and maybe there's some parts later that night I don't remember. Listen, Lithuanian people are great people, and what an awesome story. If you guys have never seen there's a documentary out there called The Other Dream Team. You guys, if you love basketball, you'll literally bring tears to your eyes. It's about, when they basically gained their independence from the USSR, and had that magical run in the '92 Olympics. It's awesome. So just awesome people. I've got great relationships with a lot of them over the years, and yeah, I'm thankful for those. I'm thankful for those experiences. I'm honestly thankful for all my travels, over the years. I think it's really helped kind of shape me as a person and as a coach.
Michelle Gardner, Arizona Republic. Tommy, can you talk about the contribution of Toby Awaka, what he's meant from a leadership standpoint, from a performance standpoint, and just being able to take the role where he's on the bench and not starting anymore?
I have more people come up to me and tell me Toby Awaka is their favorite player, and I think that's so cool. He's just, these guys were great up here. And he would add to that list and maybe be even better. He's just so thoughtful, so mature, and he's about the right things. It's honestly, he's been a real asset to our culture. And honestly, I felt like we've always had a pretty good culture. I think he is a key component for taking it to another level, on and off the court. So love Tobe. I wish I could coach him forever. And hopefully we can find other ones like him in the future, because they make my job awesome, and they make coming to work every day special.
Jordan Mendoza, USA Today. Coach, it's not a secret that Arizona has proven itself to be a national contender among the most wins in the past since the 21st century. The only thing that's just been missing is a trip to the Final Four. So given that, you have a chance to finally get that tomorrow, what would that mean for this program to finally get back to the national semifinals?
Well, it's not going to change my life. I'm pretty fortunate, regardless of the outcome tomorrow. But I think it's going to be a great moment of collective joy for our entire community. And I think that's really powerful. If you get, millions of people that can smile at the same time and cheer together, that's powerful stuff. That's the compound effect. And yeah, that's what I'm, would be most excited for. Winning the game would be great, but the collective joy it would give our community would be, would be, more special than just the win by itself.
So Saul Bookman, PHNX Sports. Over the course of the last 5 years, you guys have been close, got to the Sweet 16, but this group particularly, when would you say you would notice their competitiveness and their will to win being a little bit different than teams of the past here at Arizona for you?
I think right away. I think right away when we got on the court together, obviously we saw there was a lot of talent there. It was going to be able to be dynamic in how we kind of approached the game. And I just thought that was just going to put a lot of pressure on our opponents. And then, we knew the kids we'd recruited. We knew the kids that were in the program. But when you got them all together, everything made sense. I'm not surprised we're sitting here. Not at all. And I think we're exactly where we should be. And now we got to go put in the work and probably have some good fortune, on our side as well to hopefully take the next step.
Hey, Coach. Matthew Ho, The Athletic. Talking a little bit more about like the closeness of this team. Is there anything you guys do as a coaching staff to help facilitate that closeness? They mentioned they play games to each other. Do you guys have anything like maybe like a no phone policy at like dinner or like when you guys are traveling or anything like that?
I'm sure they do some stuff that I don't even know about. But I think one of the things that we really try to do, throughout the year and especially early in the year is we talk to each other. We have meetings, we have breakout groups. We talk, we get to know each other. Everyone, gets an opportunity in front of the team to tell their story. And, I think that's important stuff. And we want people that are, when they're feeling a certain way to be able to communicate it, with their teammates. And we want people to when they see someone struggling, to be comfortable to go pick them up. And so to me, that's just a really important thing we do is just, creating opportunities for people to talk to each other in a meaningful way.
Jason Shear, Wildcat Authority. You've been in this position as an assistant coach and with Mark Few and all that. Is there something specific you took from him or really any coach about your overall approach to these type of games and not X's and O's, but just general?
Yeah, be normal. Be normal. Be yourself. I think having a consistent approach is the most important thing. And I think if your team saw you change now or become uptight now, I don't think that would be good messaging. So Coach Few, you guys, I don't know what you guys think of him or what you know about him, but he's a great guy. But he's really private. He's really low key, and he's really smart. And so I just think that I always appreciated that about him. He never made these moments about him ever. Never made anything about himself. And I think I learned a lot, from him and how to carry myself and how to conduct myself. And I think repetition's been a great teacher for me as well. This is my 5th year being a head coach, and I've only been a head coach at one place. And if I want my players and my staff committed to development, I better be committed to developing myself too. And so I spend a lot of time, trying to get better myself. And So I think the combination of those two things has been effective.
Hey, Tommy, Rocco Miller, Field of 68, Bracketeer.org. Just wanted to talk to you about Purdue a little bit. They were the 7 seed in the Big Ten tournament. They go and win that thing, beating Michigan and others, and have played well here in March Madness. Just in these last couple of weeks of Purdue, anything that, without giving away the game plan, of course, that you can share that maybe jumps out at you what they're doing so well lately?
Yeah, well, we're going to come out and no, I'm joking. We're going to full court press and trap everywhere. No, they're just obviously playing really well. But they've been. I didn't follow their season super close. I know they've been obviously a great program and a good team all year. And when they pop up on TV and you're sitting on the couch for a few minutes, you watch, throughout the season, but nothing more than that. Just kind of looking at their season. A little bit looks like they hit a few rough patches, and I don't know if there was injuries or just a little bit of fatigue of the season, or scheduling can hit you too. We found that in the Big 12. Sometimes these schedules get backloaded a little bit, and it's a gauntlet. So that can create some tough stretches in the season, but mean, they to me, they look like the team right now everyone thought they were going to be at the start of the year. So I've been, really impressed with what they've done, and to go win the Big 12 tournament and come play the way they have in the NCAA tournament, it's been really impressive.
I just want to follow up on the story you told about Braden. Was that come up organically in a conversation with Chad? Was he calling you specifically about him, and did that go anywhere? Did you follow up on Braden in any way?
Well, no, I never followed up, but let's not act like I was going to beat Purdue recruiting him either. So it's probably a moot point. Yeah, I mean, it was just, Chad's had a lot of players that I've coached, whether, it's been Andrew Nimhard or, Ben Matherin, so we've had a lot of communication over the years. And, he was in Portland for a number of years. And, I think he just called me, and, we were talking about players, and he mentioned this kid at his son's high school and was a heck of a young player, just a little small. And, so I've never forgotten that. And I never followed up on it. And, I was, I don't know if I was transitioning between Gonzaga and Arizona at the time, but I'll say this, the kid made a heck of a choice. And the guys at Purdue were really smart for choosing him, because he's been awesome to watch.
We'll take two more for Tommy, the back.
Hey, Tommy, Lindsay Schnell from The Athletic. You said earlier, that when you recruit, you're going to be fact-based. A lot of coaches have talked about that it's harder and harder to be fact-based with players these days. They have to kind of soften their message. Have you experienced that? Especially because a lot of times the assistant is the nice one, and the head coach is the bad guy. So have you experienced that? And then is it different at all with international kids?
I think international kids want, it's a little bigger jump for them. So I think just the comfort of knowing, they're going to play for a coach who's experienced in that area and helping them transition is important. But I haven't changed my approach in recruiting at all, or evaluating, not one bit. We have honest conversations, and if I can't, it doesn't mean I don't go at people or anything. Hey, here's where I think you're at. Here's how I think you fit in. Here's what you can get better at. Maybe here's how we can help you. I mean, those are the things of the conversation. I don't go into these conversations saying, man, you're going to be an NBA All-Star, and we're going to just let you do whatever you want. I mean, that's not our recruiting. We don't want guys like that. We want guys that want to come be a part of something bigger than themselves, but also individually have big dreams and understand that it's not all about them. So to me, having that honest approach is a great barometer, for me to get the kind of character we're hoping to get in our program. Because the guys that don't want to be a part of that, they self-select out. They don't text me back or call me back, which is great. And they can go have success, doing it their way at their own places. And I wish them nothing but the best. So I think it's really important just to, I guess for lack of a better word, don't sell your soul in this recruiting thing. And one thing I always think about is just the continuum of talent versus dysfunction. And I don't want to build a team where I'm just trying to accumulate talent to overcome the dysfunction that comes with the talent. There's always going to be dysfunction. We're human beings. But one of the things we really try to do is limit as much dysfunction as possible and get the most talented, least dysfunctional people we can get in our program. And we're not perfect by any stretch. So don't this is not a holier than thou speech, but I mean that's kind of how we've always approached it, and it seems to be working.
Chris Brown, AZ Bandcat Sports. You just talked about kind of when the team is being successful, right? Like the Tucson community, that happiness, that joy that it brings them. Just what did you make of the crowd last night, kind of being that sixth man, and just what are you excited for, the energy that they can bring tomorrow?
They were great, but I know this, they're going to have their hands full tomorrow, because the bars in San Jose are going to be full of Purdue fans, and like I told you earlier. So our fans need to get up early and get to work, and let's have some fun in here tomorrow. It should be a great day. But obviously Tucson's got a special place in my heart, and these last couple of weeks, to be honest with you, I haven't been getting out much, and it's been nice. It's been nice just to be at home and kind of hanging out and not realizing, there is all that excitement going on, so I can just kind of focus on the task at hand. And that's been my mindset, and that'll probably continue to be my mindset. I don't know, if things somehow, some way go well, you might not see me out much next week. I might just be hanging out in my little hideout in those foothills up there.
Thanks, Tommy.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate the time.